Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for those of you who have been my continued followers, I want to thank you. And we got another one. I tell you, I come with storylines, crime stories, or interesting things that have taken and events that have taken place throughout our country. And sometimes I will have a family member or some kind of correlated relation to the particular city. And this one is Houston, Texas, where my brother is living with his family, wife, and children. And Houston is a nice place. Houston always ranks third and fourth, goes back and forth with Chicago for the third and fourth largest city in America. And Houston is a melting pot of a city with multicultural, multinational individuals that are there. And just when I try to defend the police and say that we need increased policing, we need more policing, I get let down by some cavalier police officers that are doing all the wrong things and making terrible, egregious decisions against other human beings. And so this one is straight out of Texas. Texas woman mistaken as intruder and shot by police speaks for the first time. Ebony Pouncey, who was shot by police in Houston because they mistook her for an intruder in her own home, was joined by her attorney, Ben Crump, in an emotional interview with ABC News Thursday. Dramatic new body camera footage showing Harris County Sheriff's Office deputies in Houston, Texas, opening fire through a window while responding to a reported break-in had been released last Saturday. In the new body-worn video of the incident released by the Harris County Sheriff's Office, the HCSO, which spans about 4 minutes in total, 2 officers can be seen approaching an upstairs Houston apartment in the early hours of February the 3rd. A car alarm then begins to go off, and one of the officers says something to the other, and the two began shooting after one of the officers allegedly spots Pouncey inside with a gun inside her own apartment, according to the HCSO, the Harris County Sheriff's Office. One of the officers reloads their weapon and continues firing before the two retreat downstairs and notify colleagues through their radios that shots have been fired. So they are at this apartment for whatever reason, and they see somebody in there. They think somebody has broken into the apartment, and they unload their clip and then reload to shoot some more. One of the officers reloads their weapon and continues firing before the two retreat downstairs and notify colleagues through their radios that shots were fired. A gun was recovered near the apartment entryway after the shooting, according to HCSO. Pouncey, 28, was visibly shaken during the interview as she recalled the incident that resulted in her being shot 5 times by police in her own apartment. She said, "I started seeing holes in the walls, and then I realized there was something coming through the apartment," Pouncey told ABC News. "I see blood everywhere." Pouncey was in tears when she told ABC News that the hardest part of the shooting was not being able to take care of her 1-year-old daughter. "My beautiful baby girl," Pouncey said. "She knows that I'm not able to do the things I was able to do before, and I'm not able to be as attentive with my baby girl. She's only 1 year old. That's probably the hardest part." According to the sheriff's office account in the video, the deputies went to investigate the reported break-in and saw the front window screen removed. broken glass, and the blinds raised near the front door. The deputies knocked, and one of them announced their presence. It is unclear from the body camera footage where the glass was broken. Ponce, a friend of the woman who lived in the apartment, sustained a total of 5 gunshot wounds to the leg and torso, according to her attorney, Ben Crump, who reacted to the release of the video on Monday, calling it evidence of the unnecessary and excessive force. None of Ponce's vital organs were struck by bullets, but the long-term effects of her injuries are yet to be determined, according to Crump. He told ABC News that Ponce is traumatized by the incident. You wouldn't think. She's in her apartment. The police come, whether she heard them or not. She could have been doing something else at the time, or attending to her daughter in the bathroom. And if anybody, I've been at a home before where police have knocked at the door, and it's a very abrupt knock. It scares the hell out of you. And you kind of wonder what the heck is going on. And so she could have thought that, or thought somebody was breaking in her house. And she's allowed, if she has a license to have a weapon, to have her gun in her home. So she says, we all knew that every American citizen right now is keenly aware of their Second Amendment rights and their rights to bear arms, Crump told ABC News. And of course, this is the state of Texas. This is the capital of right to bear arms in Texas, NRA and all. Why is it a presumption that we don't have a right to the Second Amendment? This reminds you of the tragic killing of Breonna Taylor. Remember that one, when they went to the wrong house? They were looking for her boyfriend, where her boyfriend was a law-abiding, gun-registered citizen, and yet the police busted in their front door, shooting and killing Breonna. That's a very similar scenario in different cities. Ponce's friend, who was with her the previous night, said that she had forgotten her keys to her apartment. The friend told Ponce to break the window so they could enter, she said at the news conference last Friday. The two had been in the house for about 20 minutes when they heard a loud banging on the door. That's what I told you. How the police are going to bang hard, almost like they kicking in your door. Ponce's friend said. Ponce grabbed her gun and went to the door before she was fired upon by the deputies, according to the friend. This newly released body cam footage is evidence of the unnecessary and excessive force used against her, Crump told ABC News in a statement Monday. We demand that the deputies involved be immediately held accountable for the terrible injuries. So they banging on the door. You don't know what time it is. I mean, just think about yourself in that scenario. You grab your weapon and just to see what's going on. You didn't shoot through the door. And then the police, the people that are here to be your safety measure and your public safety vehicle, start shooting through the door. The shooting of Ebony Ponce should have never happened. The video shows the deputies that responded to Ebony's friend's house shot first and asked questions later. It is concerningly clear by the video and Ebony's injuries that the deputies were not justified in shooting her 5 times. Since the incident, both officers have been placed on administrative leave, according to the sheriff's office. The sheriff's department and local district attorney are investigating, and the case is being referred to a grand jury. And then we have, how many times do we see where we have white officers that are shooting black citizens and patrons of America? You got to show me some statistics where black officers are shooting unarmed white civilians at their home, in their car, walking down the street. The preponderance of evidence is swayed so far and so skewed to the white officer making a crass judgment against a black patron and citizen, and terrible things can happen. And this is where that whole Black Lives Matter and defunding the police thing has all come about. You very seldom see where black officers are shooting black citizens also. It does happen occasionally and more times than you think, but the whole chasm of a white police officer in a position of authority and shooting a black inferior citizen or patron, you know that's going to bring the news and shed a light on the disparities between law enforcement and our U.S. citizens of color. And so they decided to shoot through the door. It was a rush to judgment. And it makes you also wonder, based on the zip code, what if that was a Houston suburb? One of these elegant suburbs, or like in St. Louis, if it was in Ladue or Chesterfield, do you think those officers would have shot through the door? Or would they have been a little more gingerly and kindly and maybe not even knocked on the door real aggressively? Maybe they would have knocked lightly and say it with a bullhorn or real loud that they are the police just to do a check and see if the residents are okay. But I guess depending on the area and depending on the zip code, there is a certain kind of calculated stereotype that goes with it, and the level of aggression and nervousness reaches its peak, and then things like this happen. In cell phone video acquired by KTKK, an ABC-owned station, officers can be heard directing Ponce's friend to come down the stairs after the shooting. "I live here. Please don't shoot," she responds before officers order her to the ground and handcuff her. They shoot her friend, and then they want her to come down and then they handcuff her. Ponce was taken to the hospital by paramedics for her injuries. So as I was saying to you, here it is, another instance where we want to have a healthy police force, a healthy fire department. We want a healthy medical and hospital system. Those are all vibrant pillars to a healthy society, a healthy school system. And we are continuously having scenarios where police officers are making a rush to judgment, and these guns are real, and this rush to judgment can lead to death. And we are getting into a place in society where there is criminals attacking citizens or other criminals, and there's gun violence. There is too much of it that is going on with police officers and citizens and a rush to judgment, and with citizens against citizens. This gun violence is getting completely out of control. Every day that you turn on the news, somebody is getting killed or murdered or involved in some kind of armed criminal action, let alone gun violence. And here's another scenario where if Black Lives Matters was still in existence, they would be trying to tear Houston up over this particular situation. Many of these cities are down with police officers. The governor of Louisiana sent out a state of emergency where they're down almost 2,000 officers statewide. As I said to you before, Chicago, the city of Chicago alone is down 1,000 police officers. The St. Louis metropolitan area is down 450 to 500. Almost 2,700 police officers left the force in New York City last year alone, even before their retirement. So public safety is becoming a real issue, and civil unrest is increasing, along with this presidential race that's coming about, which sometimes can be a tipping and a boiling point for heightened emotions. And we need to make sure that we vet and get the right police officers. They need to be paid more, and we need to make sure that they have the proper training to make the right decision, sometimes at the drop of a second. It's no different than a doctor that's doing surgery, and things may go awry, and then he has to make a life decision on that patient. And sometimes that's just at a blink of an eye or a quick second, but that's based on experience, knowledge, and training. And we need that same measure. The same way that patient is in that doctor's hands, many of our civilians and the police that are policing the communities in these cities, the citizens are in the hands of the police, especially when one has a firearm and is willing to either shoot it or not to shoot it. This is a very sad case. This lady is going to have, Miss Ponce is going to have PTSD for the rest of her life. They shot her as if they were in some kind of Desert Storm war. The legal ramifications for these two particular officers, we'll have to wait and see how that goes. But that particular municipality in Houston is going to have to pay a civil lawsuit and settle this through the nose. There's body cam footage, and there are all kinds of faults that have taken place with these two particular officers, either being too nervous or making a rush to judgment and shooting this woman through a closed door. I don't know how they can defend this one. So they're on administrative leave. There may be criminal charges that are going to take place. Ms. Ponce's 1-year-old daughter was there. Her friend was there, and they're going to need tons of psychological counseling. There's going to be a heck of a payout. And in order for us to support our police officers and our police force and our police departments, we have to stop having these kinds of rash, quick draw, McGraw type police officers that are committing these kinds of acts against people of color, but anybody, innocent person. The police should be there to protect and serve, not to cause harm, disarm, or death. So tell me what you think. I brought you another one straight from Houston. Unfortunately, this is where a couple officers made an unfortunate decision to shoot through a door, unload the clip, reload, and shoot some more. So their intent was to kill, and for some God-forsaken reason, there was an umbrella of godliness and love that protected Miss Ebony Ponce from being killed. So, tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth in a positive, righteous, and God-fearing way.